Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Winning the Division, episode number 71. I am your co host, Ryan Smith, alongside former NFL tight end Ben Troupe. Our guest today needs no introduction, but former NFL quarterback, college football coach, Pac 12's all time leading passer. Unfortunately, the Pac 12 is no longer in existence, but we may or may not talk about that. And then the recent author of Mind Strength Playbook. You know him from the Pac 12, from the New York Jets. Welcome, quarterback Luke Falk. Luke, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
It's really great to have you on, Luke. I just want to start here. You played in the Pac 12, Ben played in the SEC. Talk about just your career in the Pac 12, playing for Mike Leach and in Pullman, Martin Stadium, and the Palouse, as they call it out there in Washington State.
Yeah, well, pretty unique. I mean, Coach Leach, there's nobody like him. I mean, obviously well documented. People go watch his interviews. He'll give you marriage advice. He'll talk about pirates. He'll do this, that, and the other. And once again, I was telling you guys earlier, sorry about my voice. I was actually on the Palouse having a pretty good time with our book launch. And anyways, so that's kind of what it was like playing on the Palouse is what I'm going through right now. But anyways, it's a lot of fun. Definitely, I mean, Ben, I'm not sure if there's any place maybe in the SEC like the Palouse, but there might be. I mean, I guess Starksville and where Ole Miss is at, it's like kind of pretty unique, small college towns. Pullman is out in the middle of these wheat fields, and you got to drive an hour and a half anywhere to get to it. And I mean, the stadium has seats more than the town, and it's pretty unique. So just classic college football vibes, and I'm sure Ben understands as well. Playing in the SEC, I mean, SEC's obviously on a different level to a certain degree, but I think we do pretty good up in the Palouse, and I think people are pretty shocked at how loud it gets for it not being an 80,000 seat stadium. It's in the 30s, but still a great place. They come out strong, and we still do have the Pac-12. It's the Pac-2, and we're going to be adding some new teams. So hopefully we can piece something together. And then who knows? I don't think the whole realignment's I don't even think it's in the second quarter quite yet. I think we're still way early on, and we'll figure out and see how this whole thing shakes up.
Yeah, but Luke, I mean, here's the thing, right? Every coach, Mike Leach is known for the air raid. Even when he went to Mississippi State, I mean, you knew what he was gonna do. But he's always looking for that quarterback that fits everything he wants to do. He's had a bunch of quarterbacks, but I mean, 119 touchdowns, 39 picks. Like, where does 119 touchdowns come from? I mean, that's enough for 3 or 4 quarterbacks combined. Like, at what point did you realize you and Coach Leach were a good fit?
Oh man, if I would have played anywhere else or for anybody else, I would have had 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions because I wouldn't have seen the field. So I think anybody that plays for him is highly successful. I'm like, I'm not middle of the pack for his quarterbacks in terms of stats. I'm probably at the top, among the top. I think Graham Harrell definitely's got me though. So it's not like I'm the outlier of that I dominated, and I'm the only guy that's dominated the system. Just the way that he coaches. There's so many guys that complicate things, and they just make it so difficult for quarterbacks. Coach Leach was a master at being able to make you apply what he was wanting you to do. Right? I've talked about it before. Like, there's so many coaches that they teach, everything under the sun, and the quarterback can recite a bunch of stuff. Like, here's the front, here's the coverage, here's what they're doing, but they can't utilize any of that. So it doesn't help them play any better. Coach Leach really only focused on the things that were going to help us play at an elite level, and the results speak for themselves. So I love playing for him. I wish more coaches, and I think a lot of college coaches now in particular with how the portal is, because you don't have all this time to develop these cats. You need a system that's proven, that can be simple, yet also provide a lot of complexity for the defense. And I think that's what a lot of these young guys are doing right now. Maybe not necessarily air raid or doing it the way he did, but I think that they got fewer concepts and they're dressing them up and making them, be able to replicate the same systems and all that, and allowing their quarterbacks to play at a high level. So yeah, 119 touchdowns. When I hear that, I'm like, wow. But you know, with the stat you didn't talk about is negative 400 rushing yards, and that's where my true athleticism comes out right there. So,
Yeah, negative 400 yards rushing to a tight end and a wide receiver and a fullback running back. That means that listen, man. Listen, you don't have to worry about if Luke is scrambling. It's gotten really bad out here for
it's
us. I mean,
bad.
he's
It's
trying
bad.
to find. I think Tom Brady has like a career 1,000 yards rushing, like his whole career, which means I run when it's they ain't calling no QB, quarterback and RBOs or whatever. But at the same time, though, look, I'm not gonna downplay it because, like I tell Smitty all the time, it's either college football or not. I respect it all, and what I like what you said was quarterbacks complicate things. It seems like Coach Leach is like, look, Luke, this is what I want you to do. I don't want you to deviate. This is what I'm gonna give you. This is what because a college defense can only give you so many looks, even if they're exotic. They can only do so much. Did you get to the line and say, okay, I got 3 or 4 receivers. They don't have 3 number 1 cornerbacks. No team has that. Was it best matchup or was it all right? At a certain point, I can see what they're doing. Okay, I know where I'm going. Like when did the game slow down for you? The one you say, okay, Coach Leach, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah, well, I mean, his system really you don't deviate from it. It's I mean, we have a pretty I guess world famous day of we ran 4 verticals in practice. We call it 6 day. And that's all we did. But the whole basis behind it is you pick your matchup and you do tags. So like you're talking about, if there's a scrub out there at DB and I've got, you know, Gabe Marks, who's the all-time Pac-12 whatever record receiver, well, I'm going to go throw to Gabe and I'm going to tag and play some games. Or if I have River Craycraft or Dom Williams, who I played with, these guys that were excellent. You know, so a lot of it is just the air raid is about getting athletes in space. And so utilizing tags and that type of system. And then if we had drop back and pure progression stuff, well, we didn't deviate from it. A lot of coaches, it's like, well, if the defender does this, then you're going to read this way. And if he does that, then you're going to read this way. With Leach, it was you're going to read 1 through 5 no matter what. And it made it very easy. Like I always joke that my wife could play quarterback for Coach Leach, you know, because she doesn't need to know any coverage. She just needs to know, is this receiver, that receiver, this receiver, that receiver open? And then obviously you got to have some level of physical talent to be able to throw it to him. But it's as easy as that. And then I think, you know, his system really allows the quarterback to be able to be the conductor out there. So if you have a light box, you're going to get us into a run play. If it's a loaded box, where we want to throw it. And it's really as simple as that. Just get the ball in space, throw to the open guy, don't pass an open one up, and put the ball in play. And I always took that mindset when I was coaching. There were 3 things that Leach looked at when he was recruiting quarterbacks. Do you make good decisions? Are you accurate? And can you elevate your group? And I think that stands true from the quarterback position. Do you make good decisions? You put the ball in play? That to me, are you accurate? Can you be able to get it in our receiver's hands? And then do you have the ability, whether you're a vocal guy, whether you're a lead by example guy, to just elevate the group, maximize the most out of those around? And I think that makes a great quarterback. And I think he was spot on. And he really was great at finding, I don't know if it was hidden talent or if his system's just so dang good, it made bad players really good like myself.
I see you got the football right there behind you, the Washington State football there, right-hand corner. Not the view I got there, but that's it. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. But looking at the list that you referred to, do you know the 2 guys off the top of your head that you're in between on the list? Do you happen to know?
On for Leach's stuff?
Passing touchdowns all time in NCAA.
Oh, man. I don't know, but I was just talking about the air raid stuff. I know
Okay.
Graham's ahead of me.
I'll tell you.
Case Keenum's ahead of me.
He is. He's tied for second with Dylan Gabriel. Number 1 is now Cam Ward, former Washington State quarterback, as we all know.
Oh, there we go.
He's number 1. But you are 12th on the list. Ahead of you by 2 touchdowns is Aaron Murray, played at Georgia. And right behind you at 13th is Timmy Chang from Hawaii.
Timmy. There we go. They're doing good things this year. Now, here's the deal. How many of those guys got a 6th year due to the COVID? I always thought that was pretty funny.
I don't have that in front of me, but yeah, it is.
They got to have an asterisk next to them.
Yeah, Yeah, but it's cool to see a Washington Cougar on this list, number 1 overall now with Cam Ward. Obviously was there on the Palouse like yourself, number 1 overall draft pick. Talk about, have you watched Cam Ward in the NFL being from Washington State? Are you familiar with his game?
You know what? I honestly haven't seen him with the Titans. It's fun for me that he got drafted there. That's where I was drafted. He just drafted 198 spots higher, so he got about $35 million more guaranteed, and well deserved. I did get the opportunity when he was at Washington State. I went up to practice, and you talk about a great physical talent. He was really, really good, and the interactions that I had with him, he seemed like just an outstanding young man. His family was really respectful and kind. And then, I know a few people on the Miami staff, or a couple people on the Miami staff, and they just had nothing but praise for him and just talked about, he's one of those guys, right? It's like, hey, he really elevates the group around him. People like playing for him, and really was fun to watch him in that Miami offense. So when I get a little bit more free time, Sundays right now, I'm pretty heavy with my quarterbacks. Got a lot of college quarterbacks, and then work with some high school quarterbacks on Sundays on the mind strength stuff. So that's kind of a work day. And then if I can catch the Sunday night game, then I'll try to do that.
Yeah, looks like we lost.
Oh, Ben's out.
Looks like we lost Ben. We'll keep going. Ben will get back on. But yeah, I wanted to go there now as we kind of transition from playing career to kind of what you're doing now. Your book just got launched. You just said that. You were kind of part of the launch, the Mind Strength Playbook. Also, you were a mind strength coach as well. So talk about your book. Talk about kind of what you're doing now post NFL. And how you got into it.
Yeah, well, just think about like all these athletes spend so much dang time on the physical part of their game, right? You go to the weight room, you have a speed coach, maybe you have a throwing coach, and you need that. You need some level of physical talent to be able to get on the field. But what the difference between a game that you want to remember for the rest of your life and a game you want to forget the rest of your life had nothing to probably do with your physical talent. I'm sure Ben understands this. Had everything to do with your mindset and your headspace going into the game. And unfortunately, a lot of athletes know that. They know that they should work on the mental part of the game, but they don't know how. And so that's where the Mind Strength Playbook and where my coaching came into play, because I was one of those kids. I wanted to work on this stuff. I wanted to be able to improve my game, and I worked so hard physically, but I never seemed to get any better. I just seemed to kind of stay in this mediocrity loop. And I started working with a mental performance coach, and he showed me like, hey, if you work on your mind, it's no different than your body. If you train it diligently, if you do it consistently and stick with it over a period of time, you'll develop strength there, mind strength. And that's exactly what happened. Didn't happen overnight. Just like I don't go to the gym and do 10 crunches and think I'm going to have a six pack, right? You got to consistently stay with it. And that's what happened in my career. And then I started to develop confidence. I started to view myself and my circumstances differently. And then it took my game to a whole new level. And then when I got to the top, I quit working on that stuff. And then I obviously had a very short NFL career and victim my way out of it, I call it. So that's how this whole thing came about. Is the reason I wrote the book for my younger self. What did I need? What did the coaches around me, that would I have liked them to have? How about my parents? And really, that's who the book is for, just my younger self and the people that were involved in my life. And I think the feedback that I've gotten so far is that people love it. It's very story driven with these skills and these tools, which I think you guys, anybody that reads the story is going to be able to go, oh, I can see myself in that. And I understand how I can utilize this in my own life. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a coach, whether you're a parent of an athlete, or whether you're in the business world, or whether you just want to, improve your circumstances, your situation, and maximize your full potential.
Yeah, but Luke, that's saying a lot though, right? Think about this. You just said, I wrote it for my younger self. Most of the time when you get to talking about being able to reflect, most players have to reflect on their careers. And when you reflect on it, you trying to go through all the things that you might have missed. Because being a starting quarterback in major college football, regardless if it's the Pac-12, the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC, the ACC, the Conference USA, how proud – I'm trying to say it the right way. How proud of you to be able to go back to talk to your younger self and say, hey, man, we did all right. Because when you doing it, you're so rough on yourself. You worry about every pick or every bad decision. And someone says, Luke, yeah, you threw for 119 touchdowns. Yeah, but no. You threw for 119 touchdowns, which means Mike Leach, may he rest in paradise. He's up there in heaven right now, going over some plays, saying, all right, on this play, I told Luke to do this, and he did that. Like, how proud of you knowing that the readers get to go into the mind of a Division I quarterback to say, hey, dude, I got coached under Mike Leach. Because I always say it's not where you played, it's who you played under. And Mike Leach, that's football royalty. Because like you said, he knows what he's looking for in a quarterback. And when he find him, obviously he had success. How proud of you are the book, knowing that now the readers, your children one day get to say, hey, Dad, this is what you was thinking. Like, yeah, I was thinking a little bit more graphic, but Daddy had to try to keep it PG-13 because you guys got to read this thing.
Yeah, totally. No, it's been along with walking on, I'd say it's probably my most proud thing that I've been able to accomplish. And just like anything in life, right? The 119 touchdown passes, that's not all me. That's Coach Leach. Those are the coaches. That's my teammates. That's the equipment staff. That's, everybody at Washington State pulling the same weight and going to the same direction. Same thing with the book. I had so many people involved in it. And, I'm very proud. And I definitely sometimes even to this day can get caught up in the comparison trap of, well, shoot, I didn't play 10 years in the NFL, or I didn't do blank, blank, blank. And it's that's kind of that imposter syndrome, that inner critic that will get a little bit noisy, that tries to discredit you and what you're able to do. Some people might call whatever humility. It's like, well, I just think that's probably not a case of humility right there. I think it's something that needs to get silenced. And I even talk about that in chapter 3, and it's talk about resetting your internal success thermostat. And, how do you raise your belief system? Well, it starts with your thoughts. And by having thoughts like that, you got to recorrect them. So I'll even catch myself to this day, and I still got to use the mind strength principles to this day, because I always joke with kids. It's like, if you don't brush your teeth every day, what's going to happen to your teeth? What's going to rot? Well, if you don't work on your mind strength every day, your mind strength's going to rot. That's what happens. And so even writing this book, it's like while I was going through the process, all the same insecurities, fears, worries, things arise, just like I did as a player, because you're going to be in the public eye, you're going to be scrutinized, you're going to be all these things. But it was fun to be able to start utilizing these principles and these skills, not only on the field, but also as an author off of it. And really made it really fun for me. And then I think people are going to get a good kick out of, hearing Coach Leach practicing Spanish at halftime, and just his calm, cool, and collected demeanor, and the stories. It's not necessarily stories like, hey, I'm just going to make you to laugh during this book. It's, hey, here's a story, here's a principle of Coach Leach, and here's how it really can help develop your mind strength. Because it's not a secret that he didn't just get lucky at Texas Tech. He didn't just get lucky at Washington State. He just get lucky at Mississippi State. He had a formula and a system, and I think a lot of people could really benefit from being able to see kind of behind the curtains of what made us tick, what allowed our teams and the teams that he coached to be very successful.
Yeah, and kind of beyond Coach Leach, all right, I'm going to come out and say it. Do you have a story that can be shared on a podcast, not too inappropriate, as far as Coach Leach, something that stands out in a good way, or it may not be in a good way, but something that just to this day you either tell a lot of people, or maybe you can break some news for us here on Win the Division, something you maybe haven't told before, but an appropriate Coach Leach story that you really enjoy.
Oh man, a lot of them are inappropriate, would need a beer,
Right.
I gave you a funny one. I don't know if I've shared this one. It's amongst my friends, and I don't even know if I can accurately depict it, but think of a guy, when you are cutting left, you need to break off your right foot, right? If I'm making an out and I'm breaking it to the left, I need to cut with my right foot. Well, Coach Leach is demonstrating a double move that we were implementing in practice one day, and he did the exact opposite. He went left and he cut with his left, and he would go right and he went with his right. And you got to see Coach Leach's unathleticism. You're like, all right, there's no way in heck you played rugby like you talk about, or if you did, you were holding the clipboard or wherever it is in rugby on the sideline. And his real strength wasn't that he had done it, it's that he had an opportunity and the brilliance and just him being a brainiac genius to be able to get everybody to implement what he's talking about. So he's one of the few people, because I'll even talk about this in my mind strength, is like, I'm more likely going to listen to a guy like myself who's actually done what I'm talking about, who's actually been the man in the arena, not somebody who's theorized about it and never stepped a foot in it. Well, Leach is the complete opposite of what I'm talking about in that regard. He didn't play football. He didn't play at a high level. He didn't do all this stuff. And that almost made it infuriating at times playing for him at quarterback. He would pause the film and it's like the guy's open for a split second, but you actually can't make it because in real time, somebody's going to be able to close on the window. And he's like, well, just throw it right here. I'm like, well, I can't effing do that. Like, that's not how it works, coach. So it used to piss me off sometimes as well. But at the same time, that's how easy it was in his mind. Like, well, just throw it to this guy. Like, you don't need to complicate it. So anyways, if I had the video of him cutting, pretty crazy right there. Whoops, sorry. I guess that's my alarm. I thought it was my wife's.
Go ahead, Ben. I got two more. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I'm just going to say this. What is your proudest moment? You got so many of them, right? I know you got the book now. You got the reminisce. I was blessed enough to write a book as well. And sometimes it's not writing the book. It's how do I get as much information as I can put in a book, and how do I not leave somebody out? And as soon as it publishes, you go, oh, shoot, I forgot about this. What is your proudest moment in your athletic career?
I was going to say, you gotta differentiate, or you gotta be crystal clear on that. Because my most proud moment is being a father, right? And being married and all that stuff. Athletically or professional career, I'd say earning a scholarship. People think like the Rudy movie. They see like you get carried off the field, and it's definitely not like that. It's a pretty gruesome path, and I'm sure it's even harder today with all the transfer portal. But I love, like, chapter 1, I open up, like, people ask me all the time, what's it like walking on? Well, I dive into it. Like, here's what it actually is like, and just try to set the stage. So I think being able to hear Coach Leach go, hey, Falk, stay after here, go, and then, the rest of the quarterback sleeve, he goes, hey, you're on scholarship, go sign your papers with Emmerich. It was so like what you think in the movie cinematic moment, or you see on Twitter where people are like, they announce it in front of the whole team. But man, it was total euphoria for me. I went and signed the papers, and I mean, that will forever be probably one of the most fun, surreal moments. And I did it in a year. I got super lucky. I mean, I was very blessed. And then probably another favorite is probably my first career start. It's like, I mean, how many guys you get your first career start, your walk on, and then I think I threw for like 470 something yards, 5 touchdowns, a win on the road against Sean Mannion, and Mike Riley was the head coach at Oregon State. They had good defense that year, and then we had a fourth quarter comeback. We were down, and that was really fun. I mean, be able to get the win, like, it was just so surreal for me. I'm like, wow, no matter what happens in my career, I walked on, earned a scholarship, and here I am. We just won a game, and I've won a game in the Pac-12, a conference I always looked up to. And that same Oregon State team, they were recruiting me out of high school. And at one point, they said they were going to offer me. And it was like, hey, we'll call you at blank time. We'll offer you. Well, that call never came. And a couple weeks later, I got called back from those coaches and said, hey, we just don't think you have a strong enough arm for this offense. So it was pretty fun to be able to play against those guys in my first career start, and then become the Pac-12 offensive player of the week that week after, that season of being a scholarship player. I mean, it's just, talk about a fun ride.
I got 2 left for you. I'll end with the book. So a fun one though, before I end with the book. Hardest place to play in the Pac-12, in your opinion, on the road. And second part from that question, which may not be the same answer, place that what in your career that you played at Washington State that people might not look at it as the toughest road environment, but going there, in your opinion, was it was pretty hard to play there.
Those are good questions. I mean, I'd say, like, I hate to give it to them, but like Husky Stadium's pretty hard and challenging. You always have bad weather, especially when we're playing the Apple Cup. It's always raining. It's loud. They had a great defense. Vita Vea, Buda Baker. I mean, those guys are pretty, Harry Gaines. They're pretty good.
They're still doing it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give it to them. I can't say Oregon because we were 2-0. We kind of have like I think we have some equity during those Leach eras with the Oregon Ducks. We have some ownership of them. Maybe Nike can give us some equity in Nike during that time. Probably a sneaky one.
It doesn't have to be in the Pac-12. It can be anywhere that you played. Yeah, at Wazoo.
Anywhere. I mean, Boise State was pretty cool with the blue turf. I mean, I think people would probably expect that. I threw a pick six on the opening drive, so that sucked. But honestly, a sneaky one at the time. I don't think people think like Arizona State's challenging to play, but it was hard because we're coming from a cold climate, and then we would play them like say in November or something. And I just remember every time we played down there, they had Todd Graham as their head coach. So they were just sending exotic looks left and right. And I knew I was going to get my ass knocked off all game, and then the heat on top of it. So by the time we got back on the plane, like I was just done. I was exhausted. I hated playing Arizona State, especially on the road.
Yeah, I've actually been near Arizona State. So I've seen that stadium from afar, when I say afar, close up, driving by. So I can attest to the heat.
Yeah, not necessarily maybe like the fans or whatever. I mean, it got loud when they needed to. That wasn't it. It's just like, I mean, those types of teams. It was just it was a dogfight against those cats.
Ben,
well, look, man, listen, before I get out of here, man, because I mean, we all got tight schedules tonight, and we definitely appreciate it. I think that's the best answer I've ever heard. I mean, what's your greatest athletic moment? You said, man, being married, being a dad. You talking about athletically? That's when you fully transition from a play. Because the hardest thing for a player is to let the game go, and I'm talking about when you actually play. What is it like being a dad for you?
That's a great question, and one that I don't think gets asked nearly enough, because to your point, when you're playing, you tie your identity to, Luke Falk, the quarterback. And then when you're not playing, then, who are you? I went through a quarter life crisis. And, I think it's a great learning lesson for young athletes that, hey, your sport's what you do. It's not who you are. And to be able to have your faith, have your identity rooted in your faith, or have it rooted in values or mission, or these things that are not going to change, I think is very important. And Chris Peterson, he was the UW coach, and so Cougs might not like to hear this, but I really looked up to Chris Peterson, and I thought he's a great football coach. And I heard him on a podcast talk about we have game plans for going into a game, but we don't really have a game plan for our life. And he talked about that's one of the reasons he got out, because his focus, or the type of person that he wasn't living to the standard or the values that he wanted to. And he started talking about creating this game plan for life. And I was getting into college coaching, and I asked Jake Browning, his old quarterback, if I could reach out to him and talk to him. And coach was gracious enough to be able to give me his time, and he walked me through this way to be able to create a mission statement for your life. Here are the values, here are the roles in your life, and then here are some things to live by. And when you're making decisions, you base it off of that, not off of what he calls society's scoreboard, off of more money, off of more status, more prestige, whatever it is. And one of the biggest roles that I put down is being a father, and leading from the table, and being present, and being there for my daughter. And to me, it's everything, right? I think it's like, what's the most important thing you could do in life? Okay, great. I'm writing this book. I'm hoping it changes millions of lives, right? I'm hoping it really does, and it really reaches an impact. But the greatest impact that I can have on my legacy and anything, my lineage, is through my daughter, and being able to give her my time and teach her the things that, I've experienced in my life, and watching her grow, watching her, and just being there for her and loving her, and being an unconditional loving father. And it's fun for me. I've got this little journal book that I'm just writing in it for, when I have some things, hey, this is going to be ready for you whenever she's blank age, or just letting her know, hey, I held you at 3:30 tonight in the middle of the night, and peace and calm came over me. And I just want to let you know how much I love you. So to me, I can't describe it. I don't think the English language has enough words, or any words, to describe the bond that you have between your kid. You would do anything for them. And I'm so blessed. She is such a blessing in my life. And, I really would like to get to a point where I could spend a ton of time with her. And that's really what I'm working real hard to do, so I can have that opportunity. And that's why I got into college coaching. I just didn't spend enough time with my family. That was a big reason. And I didn't want my daughter to be 18 years old, and I don't know who the heck she is. I want her to know her father. I want to know her, because I could always coach college football. When I'm 50, I could get back into coaching college football. Not to say if the right opportunity or whatever, you just never know. But it have to align with my values and being able to do that. So long-winded answer there. Apologies for that, but very passionate about being a father, and certainly not perfect.
We're both fathers, and that was an outstanding answer, and one that the listeners, especially those who are fathers, will definitely relate to. My last question is just kind of as we close out is just give us the Mind Strength Playbook. Where can we find it? Where can we get it? And then just kind of as you answer that, the chapter, or maybe if everyone's going to pick up the book and if they just read one chapter, one page, obviously you want them to read the whole thing, but if they can read one chapter, one page, what is the one that you're kind of most proud of people get anything out of the book? What would it be?
Well, that's a loaded question. One, they can get the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They could go to my website, coachlukeFalk.com. They can get it there. And man, I think it's very challenging. I think like people will resonate with certain chapters given the period or where they're at in their life.
Yep.
I do think that one of the most proud, just like the way it concludes, the chapter, the conclusion's called Easy, and it's a Mind Strength audible, because I think in life, things don't go the way that you plan. The defense gives certain looks. Life does the same things. And we had a call called Easy, and that's when I would audible. And I think what made Leach's quarterback so effective is that you could get out of bad plays and get into good looks. And the same thing needs to happen in your life. There are going to be things where you planned it to go a certain way, and you might need to go, hey, easy. I need a different look. I need a different game plan. And one of those, right, I think Mind Strength isn't just about being perfect. It's not about being perfect. I think it's about learning how to change a tire before you need to know how to change that tire. So when, you get a flat, you can change it and keep on going. But sometimes in life, all 4 tires blow out. And maybe the audible that you need is, hey, I need help. And so I really encourage people that if they're going through a challenging time, hey, I think the Mind Strength Playbook can really help you. I think it can add some tools in your tool belt to be able to help. And then I also think that therapy is a great mechanism and tool to be able to help somebody's mind strength. I've done it, and I definitely want to end, quote unquote, whatever the stigma is around just the mental health world and space in general.
Awesome. Well, Luke Falk, former Washington State quarterback, now author of the Mind Strength Playbook, has been our guest today here on Winning the Division, episode 71. Get it at Amazon.com. Check his book out. Look forward to reading it myself. Luke, all the best to you. Continued success with the book, obviously with your family, and blessings to you. And thank you so much for coming on Winning the Division with Ben, Troupe, and myself.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Ben.
And that will wrap up this special edition of Winning the Division, episode 71, with Luke Falk, our special guest tonight. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, and we will see you next time.